Hi guys, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Maude, and I'm here with Michael.
Hey guys, Mike Slater here. Hope everything's going well.
And today we'll be talking about UCaaS and how to resell the next big thing. So we'll move over. A quick little introduction for potential partners out there. Just wanted to stop and by and say who SureWeb is. So we are a company that's born in the cloud. We're a cloud distributor with over 5,000 partners that represents about 40,000 clients. We're in hypergrowth with over 700 employees, and we have a lot of different products. We're a cloud aggregator, so we do offer Office 365, Productivity Suite, Managed Cloud, IaaS, and telephony. So today, the quick overview of the agenda. We'll present to you with what is UCaaS, Unified Communication as a Service. We'll be going quickly over what is the usual VoIP offers, such as Microsoft Skype for Business, compared to our solution, the opportunity it represents in the market, how to position and sell it, and face opposition. And if we have time, we'll do a quick demo, and then we'll ask questions. We'll take questions. So what is UCaaS? I will leave Michael explain.
Hey guys, Mike Slater over here. Real quick, what I always like to do when I start these things is to give an overview of what we're looking at and kind of what we're doing here in this market. So to ask what UCaaS is almost a little bit of a loaded question, because the way I look at it is, and we'll talk about it a little later, is all VoIP is UCaaS, not all UCaaS is VoIP, depending on how you look at it. It's usually a blend solution, and what's most important for partners is it's a massive market that's mostly untapped, and in the age of digital transformation, it's an opportunity to make a tremendous amount of money. As a partner, there's no better time to go into this industry because right now it's starting to take off. Much like in previous eras of when technology changes, if you find yourself right on the way with the right point, you're at the right place to be. So when I look at UCaaS and my kind of interpretation of what it is, it's usually a bundling of services. So it's where we swap everything together, add it in, build a complete solution that offers something that's better than the sum total of its parts, right? So again, instead of having to go and shop out 500 different vendors to complete one solution, the idea is that you limit that and you choose a single vendor that offers everything you need. Something that could do aspects of PBX, instant messaging and presence, call recording, audio conferencing, collaboration tools, all things people really need and expect to have in a UCaaS solution that simplifies someone's life rather than complicating it. So UCaaS for sure was interesting because we take a different point of view. The way a lot of people build out these solutions is that they try to reinvent the wheel. So what we've done at SureWeb is we decided not to reinvent the wheel. We decided to work with our largest business partner, which is Microsoft, to deliver a truly integrated Office 365 experience with SureWeb PBX as the backbone for that infrastructure. So the whole idea here is you get the best of both worlds. So you have Microsoft's outstanding GUI, customer familiarity. Again, something I always like to touch on to talk about is if you say VoIP to your grandmother, she doesn't know what VoIP is. But if you say Skype to your grandmother, she instantly knows, oh, that's the thing I used to call my grandkids. So the product name and the product associated with Microsoft has a lot of value. So we merge that with SureWeb's knowledge of PBX. So that includes our 5.9 SLA, our carrier grade switch, everything that we do to make our product redundant, safe, secure, reliable, and easy to sell. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. Some of the great things that you do get from an integration with Office 365 is the ability to put that GUI onto a phone, the ability to manage your calendar, manage your meeting, manage your contact list, build visual conference calls, and kind of all these quick little conveniences you can get through a Teams integrated or Skype for Business integrated piece of hardware.
We have some vendor phones that integrate that directly on the hardware as well.
Exactly. So again, the T46 is just one example, but we also have more modern telephone stuff, specifically around Teams, things like the T56 or the T58, that kind of give that total nice, really slick looking industrial look. So again, companies that care about the appearance of their business can upgrade to new best-in-class phones from some of our biggest partners like A-Link. Some other cool things you can do with the solution is toggle presence. You might ask, what's the value of having that? It's really easy. You can set yourself to busy on your mobile application on Teams, which will then turn off notifications on your desk phone. So it's the ability to kind of unify your day, make it a little bit easier, let people know when you're out of office, and really just be more productive with the time that you have. Another great thing you have is that you can continue calls from multiple devices. So for example, you can have a call that starts on your Teams phone, transfer it to your laptop. Then you can move it onto your desk phone as well too. So it gives you the ability to drop and pick up calls kind of at your own leisure, which is a really distinguishing value that only Sure really brings for this particular type of integration. From a technical point of view, this is the way I like to explain it. As part of this best of both worlds, there's basically 3 moving pieces. So piece number 1 is where your phone number sits. Your phone number sits with SureWeb Cloud PBX. So that's our standard solution we have offered for over 18 months now. Really secure, best-in-class system. Then we have a middleware piece, which is the connector. This acts as a communicator, but for the data that sits in Teams, Skype for Business, whatever Microsoft product you're using, depending on when you got your licensing.
We have a few questions already, so I like to keep it fluid, so we'll integrate the questions as we go along. So we have Eric that asked, do any of your phone have a network card to allow connecting my endpoints in them and avoid new drops?
Oh, that's a difficult question. So usually what happens is these phones come by default with the ability to use Wi-Fi built in. Now, the Teams ecosphere, as far as it goes for the firmware updates for these things do change a little bit. For example, if you're using the Skype for Business aspect of a Teams phone right now, those will work. If you're doing the integration using Teams on both ends, then the Wi-Fi doesn't work. And so it's really down to Microsoft to kind of make these decisions. We're going to make a data sheet very shortly that's going to have a full list of what these things work with from a networking point of view, because a lot of these things, a lot of these phones, they kind of have 2 different firmwares, right? Firmware A that comes from the hardware manufacturer, and then firmware B, which comes from Microsoft. So like it's kind of a loaded question, and we have to take it phone by phone to really give you a specific answer.
Good.
Perfect. So again, we kind of covered a look at where the PBX and UCaaS pieces work. 3 different moving components that deliver you one seamless experience. Now, we're going to quickly talk about the difference between our solution and the more of the PBX side of things, the way things work. So Microsoft's UCaaS, one of the distinguishing factors between how we do it using SureWeb solution in the front, Microsoft in the back, is that we offer a hosted voice solution that integrates back into Cloud PBX. So the whole idea here is that it'll do a lot more and not just do one aspect of it. So for instance, a common thing we like to do is if I receive an email with someone's phone number, I want to be able to launch a call and click to dial directly, right? Let's say that I get it from maybe Dynamics 365 as well too. The same thing, I can populate customer data, again, using some integration tools we can provide, and just launch a call quickly, populate a form from a call. Usually it's called pop-up in the CRM world. We can do all these kind of different things, which makes this very different than what you could do on the Skype side of the things, which is more focused really on the Office apps. And historically, Skype for Business too, the big focus has been on-prem. I know a lot of people have Skype for Business Server 2013 running, and that's their main communication avenue. It is a dead technology. Microsoft is phasing it out. So when you integrate with our product, you're integrating with the future, which is going to be Teams and all these different products that are coming up now. So on the other side, when you're operating with SureWeb's UCaaS, the one benefit is that you're dealing with SureWeb, who's actually a telecom company. So we're registered with the FCC and the CRTC in Canada as an actual legitimate telephone entity. So what it means is we provide a little bit more services that you can get directly from Microsoft. The way I always like to describe it is Microsoft is the leading edge software company of the world right now for all of the different solutions they do, everything they provide, their influence in the world. But they are not a telecom company. So their focus is a little bit different. Their experience with partners, the way that they engineer a product is a little bit more focused on the end user result versus the partner side. The difference with SureWeb is that when you work with us, you're getting somebody to help you manage that telecom part, building complex IVRs. Again, it's really easy to do something on Skype when it's a single IVR. What do you do when it's 20 deep? It gets a little bit harder to do that, right? The idea of having enterprise grade PBX with scalable features, we're always adding and removing new things that will, optimizing what works, removing what doesn't, add new features like SMS and texting, and making more value for the product that you bought originally. It's a little bit different than the solution that Microsoft's going to kind of focus on. Again, software company versus telecom company. The other focus is also going to be reliability. The way we ensure reliability is, again, usually multifaceted, but the 3 things I focus on is the standard cloud redundancy that you get from a cloud solution, all things you kind of care about, right? So the idea that there's no single point of failure on site, there's not a device that'll break. Another thing we also look at is that it's a commercially maintained switch. So again, we're not using a no-name brand, free download, make your own PBX in the cloud solution, right? This is something we had to buy, pay, develop, and really kind of to offer the best-in-class experience you could have. Last thing that we do have is carrier redundancy, and that's a little bit unique in the industry because we do work with several carriers in the back end. So let's say that a carrier has an outage in a specific area, we can reroute calls using a different call path, right? And those are up and running all the time. So using these kind of different solutions we built from a redundancy point of view is how we can offer that 5.9 financially backed SLA. That makes us a little bit unique in the business. Not a lot of people can do that.
As we're touching on SLA, I'd just like to point out that those 5.9s versus 3.9s, like this is all fine and dandy when we see percentages. But when we're actually talking about impact on your businesses and your clients' businesses, a 5.9 SLA represents 5-minute downtime per year. So that's 5.26 seconds in the whole year. If we compare that with Skype or VoIP or the Microsoft solution with a 3.9, that's 8 hours.
Correct. So at the end of the day, if you're a business that lives off your telephony, and that's a major aspect of how you do business, can you really afford those 8 hours? That's exactly the way we always look at it.
Exactly.
And lastly, what we always talk about is a really important part, which is the support that you get. Now, as we are a partner-facing organization and we're here to help enable our partners to do better, a lot of our partners leverage us for the support piece. So when you go with Service UCaaS, you get free 24/7, 365 support on any size of license that you sell. Be it you have one extension, be it you have 1,000 extensions with us, you all get treated the same way. Our call centers are based in North America, support in English and French, super quick response time, and again, a very engaged team of professionals who understand the way that telecom works. Again, versus other solutions, you might be looking at 24/7 support using pages that are outdated and maybe things don't make sense. A lot of mismatched documentation.
Refer to forums as an answer.
Going through the forums as an answer, which again is, back in my day working support, that was the way we found most of our answers, right? Was to go to those forums and do it. So again, it's something that's easy if you're a hobbyist. It's easy if it's something that you're just doing for your own company, but if it's something you're reselling to your clients, you really want to make sure you're partnered with the right place when it comes to the support piece. So the way I look at the strengths is that there's really benefits to both solutions, but you have to pick the one that matches your partner, your business model, and it's going to give you the ability to offer the best experience with the best possible margins. So the way that I look at it is Skype for Business is great because it does have that familiar interface, has that ease of use, has the integration, the compatibility with IP phones, and they connect to any wearable devices. All the things that make it easy to sell. And when you bundle that with Sure UCaaS, you get something enterprise grade, connected devices anywhere in the world. But instead of making a lower level margin like you might be used to, you can make a lot more money. Another great aspect you're looking at is provisioning Office 365 licenses. You can go and do this from the exact same portal you buy your UCaaS from. And again, you get something that's fully integrated into the entire solution, and you get a best-in-class product from us, which us handling telecom parts and leaving Microsoft do the parts they do best, which is connectivity. Other cool things that we also do is the ability to price out the hardware over an extended period of time. So a 24-month commit, we can actually include some of these compatible Teams and Skype for Business phones as part of the solution, which again, love that idea. Not a lot of people like the operating expense of having to buy phones, but if you can bundle it into one solution and include a 24-month advanced repair replacement warranty, it really is the best of both worlds between these two different products, right? Microsoft and SureWeb. Now, every single product is great, but we also have to talk a little bit about the things that, again, are challenges with UCaaS. So something that we do have to keep in mind is that UCaaS is not something we like to blend between different legacies of equipment. So for instance, if you have a hybrid environment, an on-prem environment, it's not going to be the right solution for you. Maybe you do a little bit of both. If you have limited contact center features, like we do, it's not a great deployment if you have an advanced contact center that has a lot of inbound traffic, super complex call queues, skill-based routing, all the things you kind of expect. Weaknesses, again, as part of the Skype portion of everything, is of course, it's not really an enterprise grade voice application. We don't really do the integrations for third-party applications. Skype itself doesn't support a lot of business community. At the end of the day, it's not a telephony solution. There's a high total cost of ownership, no WebRTC calling like we have built into our side of it, and you do have limited enterprise voice functionality. So of course, there are downsides to each product. It just depends on what you want to use them for that makes the business case. So we'll quickly kind of cover position and scaling, more on the sales side of the house and the things that kind of matter. So when we position this product, we kind of look at 3 facets or 3 pillars of our product that make this easy to resell and also a good fit for your potential clients. We look at profitability, simplicity, and reliability. Profitability in our solution is great because you have many ways to work with us, right? We're not just a single provider that works with agents. We're not a single provider that works with one product. The way it works is that we offer a little bit of everything. So the first thing that we do is we offer 3 different partner programs. So you can be an agent and just refer as business, make tons of money that way, or you can be a white label and make this your own product and your own solution that you can rebrand as your own. So instead of being SureWeb's UCaaS, it could be, again, MSP name here, UCaaS solution. So we're fully happy to support you guys in that. The other thing is that typically our partner tier discounts are pretty high, so they're the highest in the MSP space that I'm aware of. We'll go anywhere from up to 30% for agent models, depending on where your agent is. If you're with the master agent, if you're with us, it varies. And we have up to 40% for white label guys. So if you're taking on the onus of the relationship, doing your own billing, you can use that as a way to make money. Other things that we always advise that maybe not everybody takes advantage of, but this is something great for co-brand and white label partners of ours, is build project services around the installation of VoIP telephony. Things you can charge for, it's training, phone configuration, PBX configuration, the number porting, the things that we take care of, you can monetize. Do a training session 3 times for a setup, walk in and provide continual project services, get structured cabling, charge for doing voice recordings. There's lots of ways you can monetize these services, and we highly advise you do it, because it's a good way for you guys to make a little bit of extra money while integrating it into your MSP portfolio at the same time. Simplicity. So why we focus on simplicity for our product is no matter what level of partner that you are, be you an agent, a co-brand, or a white label, we're here to help you. So we have a quick and easy portal which you can do your ordering from. You can get a platform demonstration from an account manager. They'll show you how everything works and run you through both purchasing and the amount of provision that you have to do as the partner, depending on your level. We give you access to a demo account you can use to test on site. One of the great values is if you're unsure if it's going to work at a client site, load up our free phone application, go on site, connect to the Wi-Fi, launch a couple of test calls. You can figure out if it's going to work or not just from doing that, and it takes 10 seconds to do. Other things to make it simple is that we do take care of all the heavy lifting. We'll do the phone provisioning. We'll do the IVR construction for you. We'll do all the hard parts the first couple of times, and you can even take over it later, especially if you're a white label, right? So we'll make sure that you're comfortable. We're not going to leave you swimming in the water with the sharks by yourself. You know, we're here to support you and make sure you do well. Last part I'd like to cover for simplicity is, again, the streamlined deployment and operations. So one of the best things about what we do is everything is plug and play. So all the hardware, everything from the phones down to the ATAs, everything is shipped ready to make phone calls. So you don't have to sit on site, go through GUIs, mess around with the provisioning of phones. Again, the things that used to take a lot of time, even if you're really good at doing it, it takes you about 5 minutes a phone. And if you're doing 100 phones, it can add up very quickly. When you work with us, everything's provisioned before it even hits the client site, right? Making sure it's nice and easy for you to do. Other thing we like to do is, again, simplify the client's invoice and simplify their billing cycle. So all of our plans are easy to understand. We only really have 2. We have no contract terms except for iPass, and our plans include everything off the get-go.
We've been mentioning iPass a little bit on a couple of different slides. What we do offer is, it basically means IP phone as a service. So we have a 24 months commitment and with a 0 cash down on phones that we offer. So you choose the phone, you pick the plan, and you're basically ready to roll. So that's something that you can offer to your clients as well, and offer stickiness and retention with the telephony offer.
Exactly. So iPass is a great way to secure client loyalty over an extended period of time. And the best part is, after it's done, because it's not a lease, it's not a rental, the end user completely owns the phone. So there's no clawback. It's not a lease where have to contact a third party leasing company for hardware and kind of get involved in that side of the business. You strictly sell it with us. We back all the money for the project. And again, that's your big focus should be, is how you can sell quicker and faster and not get bogged down the operational side of things that's time consuming. So focusing on reliability, we have to focus a lot on customer satisfaction, because again, in a world where customers have choice of 500 different types of ketchup when they go to a grocery store, much is the same with telecom services today. that in this very competitive market, you have to focus on what makes customers happy, what makes their businesses work, and really focus on providing the best-in-class customer experience you can do that. For us, we do that really easy by focusing on 3 pillars. So elimination of downtime, because again, all the redundancy we talked about earlier, making sure that the experience that your end users, clients get when they call them is always optimized. One of the greatest examples I always like to say is if you as the end user go to call a business that you're looking at having a partnership with, and you ring the phone number and it goes to dead air, our first thoughts are, is this business open? Are they a legitimate business? Does anybody work there? Because again, these kind of questions we start to raise about the quality of the business. So you always want to make sure someone's there to pick up the phone, or you at least have an IVR, a voicemail, something to signify that you're there. Another thing is to ensure voice quality. So again, we do help our partners make sure that they're set up correctly. We do offer a lot of courses on QS, and we're working on partnerships with third-party applications. They'll let you guys do an assessment. We're hoping to roll that up this quarter. It'll make your lives even easier, and without even having to download the application, do a test call, you'll be able to run a software on a client's computer for 7 days and get a readout of their entire web traffic. So those are some of the things we're working on right now. Also, you can mitigate any problem fast by using us to leverage as your support network. So again, if the phones don't work at 2 in the morning, with a lot of different people that you have to work with this industry, they're not there at 2 in the morning to help you. SureWeb is 24/7, 365 with no extra cost or commitment. We'll be there to help you out and make sure that your customers handled the way that you would handle them, even at all hours of the night.
So this was just a little recap slide. If anyone wants the deck, I'll be happy to provide it. So we're going to move along. And if you want that, you can either just find me on LinkedIn, reach out, or I can even just send you this little 1-pager if you want it. I encourage anyone to take a screen capture if you're being interested in just like this little 1-pager thingy. But overall, the 3 pillars.
Again, it's all things we've talked about before. You'll get it from Maud, and you'll have a great idea of the values of SureWeb. And again, just an idea of what we'll do for you if you become a partner, or how we can start that partnership you already have with us today. So now we get to my favorite part, which is objection handling. So as we all know, it's always difficult to position a new solution, especially when you're not familiar with the ways to counter the most common complaints or the common worries or the common concerns that an end user has. Because again, the telephone system is a major project to undertake, and especially if it's the first time you've ever done one before. So we want to make sure that you understand all of their concerns and that you're ready to provide an answer to a concern, and make sure that you're ready to address these problems before they even come up.
So first objection, migrating to cloud communication is too expensive and time consuming.
So this is a very classic one that everybody always get. In my opinion, when you go into migrating, it's really not that expensive or time consuming. People usually think about the past when you're in these really tough situations and no one was able to really provide a concise solution to the cloud. Hybrid solutions were running amok. You had a world where it was super expensive to make these changes. For me, I always position this as this. It's not hard to change because we have to look at it this way. How much time currently does your onboard IT staff spend working on the telephones? If they go down, what is the time to resolution? What is the real total cost of ownership for what you're owning? If you factor in the fact that your phone system has been end of life for the last 10 years and the parts are now being sold in the gray market to fix it. These are not great things people have to worry about. So when you migrate to the cloud, they're also not paying any more capital expense for these changes. And again, using a tool like iPass, we can shift this entire experience into a cloud experience where they're paying monthly for a service instead of $9, $10, $20,000 up front to replace a system that again is going to need to be updated, maintained, sit in a rack, and suffer all the regular pitfalls of a single point of failure. So long and the short is, migrating to cloud is not expensive and not time consuming if you pick the right partner that takes care of the time consuming parts for you.
I don't want to lose control.
So we all know guys that are very specific about what they keep on site. This has been an issue for me for a very long time. And the way I always address it is, what control are you actually losing? Again, SureWeb comes with 40+ different features tailored to every aspect of your business. You can still change the IVR using SureWeb Cloud PBX. You can still change the call routing rules. You have the ability to install and remove phones as needed. We can customize the solution down to having an IVR that does the time of day for you. We can do a whole holiday menu in advance, and you don't have to go through us to make those changes. You could do it yourself. So with cloud, the reality is you still keep virtually the same levels of control for 99% of clients. Don't get me wrong, there are exceptions like contact centers, the stuff we said we don't already do, but for your basic SMB or SME clients, they'll have the exact same level of control they have with us right now as they've enjoyed in the past.
And another objection is usually, I work with very sensitive data. I'm worried about security.
So that's a constant concern for everybody, and security is a key thing. And there's actually 3 different things that we do that makes us an extremely secure product. One of the things that makes us unique is that we can encrypt our SIP traffic at will, something we can do that again in a HIPAA environment or more of a security environment for information. We're more than happy to help you do that. We have a whole HIPAA compliance guide too as well, the steps you have to take with our PBX to make sure you're catering to that market vertical correctly. Another thing that we do is we have secure provisioning. So secure provisioning is, again, something that makes this very unique. A lot of people that sell cloud PBX have taken on-premise solutions and they still provision the same way phones is always provisioned. They go to a relatively open provisioning server that anybody can get access to if they have a copy of your MAC address. With us, we encrypt it end to end. So it's a much more industrial solution that prevents the phones being tampered with, because a hack in this particular world, especially guys on-prem, could be very expensive. I've worked with people that have had $10,000 worth of fraudulent calls passed through their PBX in just a weekend, right? With SureWeb, you're getting the best in security because we use all of our best practices we've used in the last 20 years of being an industry leader in the cloud space, and we apply that to the product. So between a mix of our security at the endpoint, our security in the provisioning, and the security of the communication, we can really provide a solution that can hit all these more tough to reach verticals, that guys that are secure about data, we can reassure them. And again, you can always get a copy of our SOC 2 compliance report and everything else at will as a partner. So we understand security is a big focus, and we want you to know that for you and for us, it is too when you approach a partner on that subject.
As far as we're going, like just to continue on the previous question, on the Office 365 side, we also have Office Protect, which offers a whole other level of security that you can add on top. So I'm not sure if you wanted to like talk a little bit more about that.
So again, at the risk of veering a little bit out of my lane here, was 100% correct. There are solutions like Office Protect. They don't really cater so much to the PBX side of the house, but they do cater to email security. So
UCaaS is an integration of both, I thought it would be.
Exactly. So one of the great things about our UCaaS SKUs as well too is that when you do buy them, you do get a trial version of Office Protect with every one that you buy. So it gives you the ability to try out that solution as well too. What makes it interesting again is really the monitoring tools that you get. It gives you the ability to track incidents. One of the best examples highlighting the value of it is that we had someone in testing that was using it, and all their staff was in, continental United States. And within using it, they got an event alert that their staff was logging in apparently somewhere in rural Croatia. So again, this brought someone's information up and brought them to an awareness that, oh, it looks like maybe one of your accounts might be compromised, right? This is some of the values that we provide for Office Protect, and again, a better value of the SureWeb Partner Program, where we're offering you these demos, these tools to help you accelerate your business, get involved in different sides of the industry, be it telecom or security, and offer something that's a little bit unique and will help you differentiate yourself in a market that has a lot of blandness and sameness.
Great. So I just wanted, before we move forward, to remind you guys, current partners at SureWeb, and for new people, I just wanted to touch on the point that we do have an event each year. It's a little convention that SureWeb hosts. It's in Montreal in October. It's called Accelerate, and we do offer a lot of different keynotes that have a lot of value for your businesses. We encourage you to learn, grow, network with your peers. SureWeb does present a roadmap for the upcoming year. We have sessions about marketing, about managed services, about how to better your business model. We have experts from SureWeb, but also from the industry coming specifically to talk. We have limited spaces. There's about 200 places available, and you can just come and talk to us whenever. So you have the address at the bottom. It's sureweb.com/accelerate to know a little bit more.
And of course, covering the best parts of that, it's a lot more than just coming and learning a little bit more about us. It's also your opportunity to get in front of the minds and the creative bodies that make SureWeb great. So again, a little funny story, a little anecdote is one of our best reps or one of our best resellers at PBX came by with a wish for SIP trunks. And I think a heavily part of that decision, and he had a heavy influence over our product rollout, is that we've added SIP trunks. And I think it's a no short of him coming up and suggesting the idea to us. So again, if you're a really good partner with SureWeb and you want to accelerate, you want to make sure that we take you guys in the right direction, we highly advise you come, because there's a lot more than just learning. There's a lot of exchange of ideas. There's a great party afterwards, and it's an opportunity to kind of craft some relationships that are going to help you no matter what you do, what career you take, where your business goes. So we're big fans of the conference, and we really hope we get to see you guys there this year, guys. And hey, at least it's not Vegas. I think we're all tired of going there. So you get to come to nice sunny Montreal, and October's a great time to come to the city.
So we're going to open it up for questions right now. I already have a couple queued. So I have Jason that asked, can we port over phone numbers to UCaaS?
You definitely can. So one of the values of our solution is because SureWeb takes care of the telecom part in front of the solution, we own the phone numbers, we can do the number porting for you. And we understand number porting isn't a great experience for many people. That's the reason why we actually have a dedicated team that'll handle it. If it's for Club, PBX, or UCaaS, we got you covered. We can port numbers from 99% of carriers in North America.
Great. Next question was, do we know how much longer Skype will be around?
So right now what's happening is, unless you're ordering over 500 seats, you have an enterprise agreement or early stroke with Microsoft, all new organizations are being pushed onto Teams for Office 365. The actual end of life, because usually Microsoft does about 10 years of support. The last major Skype update that I'm aware of was 2013. So we're looking, again, 10 years from that date for the actual end date for Skype. But again, at the cloud side, I think it's already all but dead. It could change, and sometimes things with Microsoft do. Honestly, though, Teams is the way to go. We're using it internally, and I'm advising everybody to jump on it. It's a much better user experience.
Totally agree. We use both internally, and Teams is a lot more consistent. If you have Mac user in your enterprise or in your clients, it's a lot more stable. It's like really, really great.
Call quality is, again, majorly revamped too. So sure. We do a lot of our conferences, a lot of our demos using Teams now.
True. So we're a little bit quiet on the question side right now. So sticking around for an extra 5 minutes to see if any of you have questions. Otherwise, we'll be dropping the webinar and sending over the deck and recording. You will receive a recording of this in the next week, probably. Okay, I have a question here. When using a physical phone, does the status change for Teams Skype users when on a phone call?
Correct, it does. So if you're using the integrated hardware, like again, a T46S when you're using Skype for Business, or if you're using a T56 when you're using Teams, it gives you the ability to toggle a status on one phone that will apply to everything else. And it actually syncs back to your schedule. So for example, in your Outlook calendar, if you set yourself as busy, you will appear as busy everywhere, letting you know that, maybe I won't be able to reach somebody for a phone call, which is a really good value add we have. And I think it's one of the best parts about the integration.
Do we have an estimate about how much time it takes to migrate phones? Let's say you have like a group of 20 phones that you need to migrate.
Sure. So our average onboarding time is anywhere from 1 week up to 6. It really depends on 2 factors. Factor number 1 is usually how fast the client gets back to us. In an ideal world where I'm provisioning UCaaS without any hardware, we're generating brand new phone numbers, I can have this up and running in 5 days. If we need to port numbers, reconfigure existing hardware, maybe ship extra hardware there, the end user doesn't respond well, they don't fill out the forms correctly the first couple of times, then we're looking at 6 weeks. But primarily, our average deployment time, I've done rush orders that are 48 hours for stuff like UCaaS before.
Great.
So we're really flexible. It all depends on how fast the end user is to get back to us, is the answer to that question.
Okay. So the questions are starting to pouring. Loving it, guys. Is there a roadmap to include a soft phone app for desktops?
So my main issue with soft phone apps, and me and the product team are very in line with this, is that if you do deploy a soft phone application, and I mean something that I guess that would be separately from UCaaS, because Teams would be the soft phone client if you're using with our integration, is that you end up supporting various versions of software. So what I don't like about that is let's say someone downloads the application and then we do updates, you end up having thousands and thousands of people using different versions of the same software. It gets hard for us as the vendor to maintain that. It gets hard for you as the IT administrator or the MSP to kind of handle all of that as well too. So that's why generally speaking, we prefer to use our WebRTC client via the login we give you to our PBX solution. So you can launch and receive phone calls just from any web browser in the world. From a design philosophy point, we think that's the way to go. So at this point, we have no desire to support an actual cell phone client, something like Bria. But again, if you guys would like to do that, perfectly amenable to it. You just need to buy the license yourself. We'll give you the SIP credentials and you can log in and use Bria, X-Lite, MicroSIP, anything you want at your own leisure, just not supported from ShareWeb. So many questions, you got busy.
I have someone asking, how do licenses overlap?
Licenses overlap. But I'll take my interpretation of that and we'll kind of run with it. So the way it works for us is that we need basically 2 points of licensing. So licensing number one is Sherb's Cloud PBX. It's available in our partner portal. You can go and take a look at it here. And then we need the appropriate Microsoft licensing, right? So this includes the correct M365 or Office 365 SKUs. So I guess in the E Microsoft 365 area, that'd be an M1 or an M3, or it'd be an E1, E3, or E5. The E1 and E2 need to come with phone plan, which is something that's not included with those particular solutions. Again, that's a Microsoft requirement to use the telephony bridge. So using those licenses, that's what you'd have to get. Again, we know it's a bit of an ask. Like, it won't be as cheap as somebody using something like Business Essentials or Business Premium, but at the end of the day, we do deliver a lot more features, and clients that are more enterprise, so guys that are not really even enterprise size, just enterprise mentality about the technology, so 10 users and up, it's a good fit for it. If that's too expensive, we always recommend good old-fashioned Cloud PBX, super competitively priced, and that'll fill the gaps of like anything in that 1 to 10 ratio.
Okay. Can UCaaS be sold once a client already have a 12-month commitment with Office 365?
100%. So the way it works with our integration is you don't have to buy the licensing from us. Obviously, we would prefer it if the licensing was coming from you and you were part of our partner program. That would be the ideal situation. But in case that's not always the case, there's enterprise agreements in place. There's the annual commits to Microsoft. There's even competing VARs or MSPs or resellers you might be dealing with. You can sell Cloud PBX into them using our integration middleware, and it doesn't matter where the licensing sits. So we have lots of guys right now who are currently in production that are using this as a leverage to get clients off enterprise agreements in the next couple of years, right? So they go in there, they win the PBX deal today with the idea they're going to be able to get the Microsoft side within the next year or two, right? So it's a good ladder tool you can use to leverage yourself to be in a better future position to take other business lines. So you can definitely do that with our solution.
I have someone asking, what if you have to leave a tailored message on a busy line? Can we do that?
A tailored message on the busy line? So let's say a voicemail in this case, absolutely, we can do that. We also have call queues as well too. So we can always route somebody into a call queue. That way they'll be picked up right away when somebody, the line gets freed up. That's a classic way to ensure best customer experience. So we can definitely do that. That's absolutely not a problem.
Is there a minimum required amount of seats or
minimum of seats for UCaaS? So for PBX, there is no minimum. I just want to say that too while we're on the same page. But for UCaaS, we recommend 10 just because there is a cost to integrate that for us to do the legwork. And usually it's not appealing when you're going over, or rather going under 10 people. So we say, 10's a good starting number. We highly encourage you to go with that. Anything under, it's really a hard sell for us because the amount of time it's going to take. So it's not a hard no. Let's say if you come in with 9, that's going to grow to 10, 15, 20. We can talk about it. But as a general rule, we think this really works best at 10 and over.
And in an auto dial world.
Oh, nice. My background. So my opinion, and again, my opinion of all this kind of stuff is if you're in a world where you need an auto dialer, so that can be predictive dialing, that could be progressive dialing, that could be a power dialer, all these systems that automatically engage in outbound calls, never go to a PBX guy to get that. You should be going to what I consider to be a tier 1 contact center solution. There's lots of guys around. If privately, whoever's asking the question would like some recommendations, because I am from that market, I'm more than happy to weigh in. But the biggest reason why we don't want to provide that and why I don't think we ever will is because there is a gigantic compliance component with that. And I think I even talked to one of our sales reps about that today, where, if you start calling people with an out of control power dialer, you could be legally liable to fines and a bunch of other stuff. So we highly advise you only stick to a professional for that, and you be very careful how you tread in the world of automated dialing. So again, on the side, reach out to me. You guys, again, will get my email. We'll search for information and thank you. feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy just to give you guys my thoughts on good vendors to work with in that space.
I'll be taking a few last questions. I have one left. So if you guys have a question popping in your mind, type it now or just reach out to us after the webinar. So the last one will be, will I be able to see my Outlook calendar on my Skype for Business desktop?
It will depend on the phone and it will depend on the integration. So the answer is yes, depending on what you're using. Because the thing is that there's a Teams integration and a Skype for Business integration based on what licensing you're using and where you are. So the answer to that is yes, or maybe not, depending on what you're using right now. So we'll have to talk about that offline. With your individual case, we'll see if we can get to work. But theoretically, yes, you do have access to visual conferencing, so you can see them on the get-go and position your calls from there. Correct.
Great. So we've run out of questions. So I will be sending over a few, the deck to the people that lifted their hands in the chat, and I will be sending an on-demand recorded version of this webinar in the next couple of days. So thank you all for coming. Thank you, Mike, for allowing you to ask you all those questions.
My pleasure.
And talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.